National Working Committee (NWC) of the All Progressives Congress (APC) came under criticism yesterday over its preparation for the June 22nd governorship primary in Edo State. The NWC has stipulated that the governorship primary would be conducted using the direct method. The state chapter, however, announced its preference for the indirect mode with respect to the COVID-19 protocols contained in the recent gazette by the state government. As the two major APC factions in the state continue to hold disparate stance over the mode of primary, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has since declared its readiness to align with the NWC. Some stakeholders, however, expressed worries over INEC's haste in taking sides without due consideration for the legal and other internal disputes within the APC, particularly the purported suspension of National Chairman Adams Oshiomole. The confusion over the mode of the primary was made worse by the intractable supremacy battle between the incumbents Godwin Obaseki and Oshiomole. It has been gathered that the party might convene an emergency National Executive Committee (NEC) meeting with a view to resolve the stalemate. The APC Deputy National Vice Chairman South-South, Chief Hilad Etta, was optimistic. He told the Guardian that the June 22nd governorship primary would put an end to all the misunderstandings and conflicting positions. He noted that the NWC's decision to adopt direct primary was informed by two major reasons: the need to give a level playing field to all aspirants and also stay safe on pending litigations. Etta said the June 22nd primary will settle all issues. Direct or indirect method is in our party's constitution. Direct or indirect was chosen by every state when we started the process of primary elections in 2019. The governorship election is a culmination of the process. We don't have two different elections. The reasons we are adopting direct primary for Edo are two. The number one is that the state's primaries for House of Assembly, House of Representatives and the Senate were through direct primaries, and the governorship is just a culmination of those primaries. The second is that in any jurisdiction where we have our members in court for one reason or the other, we try to imperil the candidature of our party by taking the decision to the people. If you look at our constitution, indirect presupposes that only officers of the party will vote. Now, what if we have a pronouncement of the court that says that a set of officers who voted at a particular point are not right officers to have voted? What happens to the party? On the issue of first refusal being canvassed by supporters of the governor, let us stress, where have we ever given incumbent governors the right of refusal? Is Obaseki from a different breed of governors? Don't we have governors in the party? The chieftain of the party, Captain Muhammad Bala Jibrin, however, differed, saying that only the NEC and not the NWC is empowered to determine the mode of primaries for selecting a standard bearer. Jibrin, who was the Deputy National Auditor of the party under the Chief Bisi Akande-led Interim Management Committee in 2014, enjoined leader Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to prevail on Oshiomole and the NWC to call for an NEC meeting to iron out the issues relating to the mode of the primary. He contended that the NWC's decision to conduct the governorship primary through direct mode is illegal and antithetical to the dictates of the party's constitution. He warned that if Oshiomole and the NWC were not called to order, the crisis rocking the party could deepen beyond repair ahead of the 2023 general elections. He also alleged that Oshiomole's alleged preference for Pastor Osage Iziyamu does not qualify him, Iziyamu, to contest the election of the APCs on the APC's platform until the neck of the party had cleared him. He said, "We have followed President Buhari's political career since 2003, and the biggest problem he confronted and fought was impunity, manipulation of elections, rigging and injustice. President Buhari himself was a victim of all this. Now, here we are." Adams Oshiomole, the national chairman of his party, is engaged in not only the abuse of office but is also trampling on the APC's constitution simply to perpetuate impunity and injustice just because he holds the office of national chairman. We provide some instances. The APC's neck, not the NWC, has the final say on the mode of the primary election. Article 20 of 4, Procedure for Nomination of Candidates, E states, without prejudice to Article 20(u) and 3 of this Constitution, the National Working Committee shall, subject to the approval of the National Executive Committee, make rules and regulations for the nomination and candidates through primary elections. Jibrin recalled how on August 29, 2018, the NEC delegated the function to NWC and the state chapters on the party only for the purpose of Osun and Ekiti primary elections and not for eternity. Okay? Therefore, when we take the constitutional provision and the decision of NEC together, it is evident that the NWC has no power whatsoever on these matters until they go back to NEC. However, both were flagrantly disregarded and disobeyed by the national chairman, Adams Oshiomole. A founding member of the party, Osita Okechukwu, urged APC leaders to cautious, noting Comrade Oshiomole is no longer a valid member of our party. He insisted we must call him to order, indeed stop him forthwith before the Zamfara or Bayelsa state fiasco become the lot of Edo State. All his shenanigans of presiding over the affairs of our party as a suspended member may in the full glare of the law be adjudged null and void at the end of the day. It is a truism that the appeal court has not delivered final judgment on his suspension. Okechukwu said further, like a super king being narcissistic as usual, he glossed over his suspension by his word together that APC's constitution is scant with time for it allows only 7 days for the offender to appeal. Comrade Oshiomole didn't appeal until months after the gavel of Honorable Justice Dalame Senchi of the FCT Federal High Court knocked him off, without prejudice to what may be the final judgment of the appeal court to Abuja Division. One hereby appeals that he steps aside to save the fortunes of our great party. Can we imagine the likely scenario of a court case challenging the legality of APC's documents and candidates submitted by his suspended chairman? To me, the loss of Edo State will mean that APC has no foothold in the entire South-South geopolitical zone, just as the loss of Ondo State would mean a dangerous penetration of PDP into a progressive base. Similarly, a member of the NWC who cares not to disclose his identity regretted how President Buhari, Vice President Osinbajo and others have allegedly abdicated their responsibilities to Oshiomole and some cabal currently behaving as sole proprietors of APC. He expressed displeasure over the single-handed manner Oshiomole and his cohort adopted direct primary without subjecting the decision to the ratification of NEC. This in itself is a breach of constitution and is challengeable in any competent court of law. He said the decision by Oshiomole to adopt direct primary does not only contravene our constitution, but it also erodes the power of ratification of any proposal by by NWC vested in the neck, and it is being done in a matter that suggests a particular candidate has been appointed to win the party. Meanwhile, an election monitoring group, Yaga Africa, has warned against the likelihood of politicians hiding behind the COVID-19 pandemic to perpetrate electoral fraud. It said it was necessary that stakeholders contribute their quota to ensure that the electoral process is not manipulated, especially against the backdrop of COVID-19 containment measures. Briefing journalists on its election project tagged Watching the Vote, Executive Director Samson Itudu noted, "We will ensure that citizens' votes count by deterring fraud and manipulation during the conduct of elections and collation of results, thereby building citizens' confidence in the process." Yaga Africa is also engaging the Independent National Electoral Commission's policies for the conduct of election amid COVID-19 to ensure the election is inclusive and meets the test of integrity. Director of Programs Cynthia Mbamalu added that Yaga Africa would observe the pre-election environment starting from party primaries and government's response to COVID-19. We'll be using various methods like physical observation, interviews and desk reviews to provide information on the conduct of political party primaries, she said. Well, I'm sure you guys have heard it all. I don't know what you think about this whole thing. Let's have your take in the comment section. Leave your comment below respectfully. Thank you.